From the creator of films like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright has proved himself to be a highly competent auteur through his consistent efforts to tell entertaining stories using his easily distinguishable style. His 2017 film Baby Driver is a perfect example of his combined talents working overtime as a director, writer, and most importantly, an auteur, to deliver a film that I would personally consider quite close to perfect. It describes the story of a getaway driver seeking a life away from criminal activity. The film might be known for its incredible car stunts and cast of A-list actors which add a boatload of entertainment quality. However, I believe it remains so effective due to the technical efforts of the film. For starters, the cinematography is straight out of the Edgar Wright playbook. Smash cuts, quick zooms, and long shots are all utilized to great effect. Baby Driver also makes use of a curated soundtrack that is used both diegetically and non-diegetically, additionally holding weight within the overarching story and theme. Lastly, the editing of the film has an extreme sense of rhythm, which is both satisfying and once again cohesive with the film's theme. I would like to focus on these three ideas, music, cinematography, and editing, to explain why Baby Driver is a near perfect example of effective filmmaking at its finest. Before I get into the specific examples from the film, I want to quickly define the term effective storytelling in order to discuss the film. The two elements that make up filmmaking are their content, also known as the story, the characters, and their spectacle, as well as their form, the style of filmmaking, certain techniques used, music, and editing. While the effectiveness of a film's content can often be argued, as it really depends on the viewer's own opinion, my own definition of an effective film focuses on the relationship between the two. If a film combines both content and form to reinforce each other in more ways than one, I would argue it is effective. Here are a few examples. The Blair Witch Project. Its content, a horror film about some film students filming a documentary in the woods. The form, the film is shot as found footage or very candid film to add to the eeriness of the film. These two elements complement or reinforce each other, therefore one can argue the film is effective. The format creates the feeling of realness, therefore the audience cares more about the characters and the story carries more weight. Another example would be Birdman. The content of the film, a washed-up Hollywood actor struggling to reclaim his career through a Broadway show. Birdman's form is its continuous cinematography that never cuts and mimics that of a play. Again, the content is reinforced through the form. Therefore, I would consider the film effective. An unbalanced film may favor only content or only form. In these cases, it becomes less effective. A film that relies on spectacle alone, or a well-written comedy that uses forgettable film techniques, they render the film significantly less effective. With that being said, let us discuss Baby Driver. The opening scene to any film provides the audience with their first impressions to the world that they are about to enter. Therefore, it should provide enough information to introduce the story and style, but act as a thesis statement to the film as a whole, while still drawing the audience in. In the opening scene to Baby Driver, we are given everything we need to watch the film. We know who our protagonist is, we get a taste of his personality and his dislike of his own criminal occupation. We get a feel for the synchronized editing style and implementation of diegetic music. The cinematography stays focused on Baby in his car and outside of the bank, showing us the story won't be focused on the crimes, but this character instead. The film informs us of all these details without a lick of dialogue, and already we, the audience, are drawn in. Here we can see the spectacle of film shining through, the skill of the protagonist shown through a high-octane car chase. If you take nothing away from this film, at least recognize the beauty of this scene. With that being said, the scene still uses all the elements we talked about before to create effective cinema. We have music that hits its climax as the car chase begins, guiding both the audience and characters' emotional states. We have effective editing and cinematography to show a variety of perspectives. The chaos inside of the car as Baby coolly operates the getaway vehicle, as well as his passengers watching nervously. We also get coverage of the police desperately trying to thwart him. The scene is pure spectacle, but still serves the purpose of establishing Baby's character. Let's focus on how these elements are utilized across the rest of the film. Music plays a direct role in the character traits of Baby. As a character with tinnitus, he relies on music to drown out the sound of ringing in his ears, something we see in the opening shot before the film even starts. We hear ringing. This is important because it gives reason for Baby to consistently listen to music throughout the film, the music then being utilized to set the tone of each scene. A great example of form plus content. Not only that, but music is a regular point of discussion between Baby and Deborah, his love interest, as they suggest songs to each other and debate about having songs named after them. Apart from Deborah and Buddy, no other characters interact with music the way Baby does. People ask him what songs he listens to and why he listens. One of the bank robbers, Bats, even mentions his dislike of music, saying
I got enough demons right here, playing music all the time.
All these efforts combined establishes that anytime we hear music on screen, we are hearing a direct reflection of Baby's mood. Again, form plus content. We often see Baby choosing songs off his iPod, or tuning a car radio to try and find a song to drive to. He simply cannot function in the film without music. One more example would be Baby recording his day-to-day conversations, which he then turns into catchy tunes, further signifying the importance of music to his life. Next, we look at cinematography. Edgar Wright is known for his signature smash cuts and whip pans, which are definitely utilized in the film, but we also see him use long, elegant takes that contrast from these action scenes. To break it down, the film includes 3 heist scenes and an additional 2 action sequences, which all utilize fast-paced camera work and fast-paced music. The non-action scenes, however, contrast quite a bit, using long continuous shots that differ quite a bit stylistically, and show the different sides to Baby's life. Additionally, they use slower and groovier songs with lower BPMs. They highlight the difference of chaos of his getaway driving and his quieter life spent with his foster dad and Deborah. Over the course of the film, we see him struggle with his occupation as a getaway driver, as he has a dislike of criminal activity. Subsequently, this leads to a search for a simple life where he can
head west on 20 in a car I can't afford with a plan I don't have.
Overall, we see his character develop throughout the film, bouncing between these contrasting lifestyles. As we've discussed, this progression of character is further exemplified and reinforced through the scene structure of cinematography. Again, an example of content plus form. Lastly, let's look at the editing of the film. The film uses many unique editing techniques, but possibly the most effective one is the use of synchronization. In any given scene in the film, you are sure to find at least one action on screen, if not many more, synchronized to the beat of the song. And while this effect is just satisfying on its own, it further reinforces the story. As we have discussed, the music plays a pivotal role in the film. Baby's dependency on music stems from his tinnitus, establishing the importance of sound. Baby listens to music from his iPod Classic, not live music. This means he is constantly hearing perfectly timed, studio-recorded music. He is constantly listening to rhythmic sounds, and because the movie takes place from his perspective, almost everything the audience sees and hears is rhythmically synchronized. Gunshots, footsteps, car alarms, you name it. When Baby enters a new environment, you can be sure to hear every new sound introduced in time to the beat. Therefore, the content is once again reinforced by the form. The entire film has an acute focus on sound. It's so chock full, I didn't even discuss every example. Essentially, what we can learn from a film like Baby Driver is this. The content of a film may vary in relation to who watches the film. Some might criticize a film for the violence or profanity used, the representation of races or genders, or maybe even the fact that the film just didn't connect with them. That isn't the point I'm trying to make. I think we can take away the fact that if a film can deliver interesting or unique content in a visually stunning or creative format, it can be 100 times more effective. You don't have to agree with the story. Heck, you don't even have to like it. But you cannot deny the effectiveness of a film that utilizes these two elements in ways that are both logical for the characters and transcends the format to tell a story chock full of clarity, struggle, and most importantly, success. To do that, you'd have a damn near perfect film.